Hello, my little strangelings, and welcome back. This one's going to be fairly short, but that's okay. Sometimes it's best to ease into things after a long absence, don't you think? Sitting at the end of Gay Street on top of a bluff overlooking the Tennessee River is the oldest house in Knoxville. No, really. It's the first frame house ever built in the entire territory before Tennessee was even considered for statehood. Built in 1792, it was intended to be the territory's governor's mansion by order of William Blount, the man for which the house still bears its name. Blount at the time was the governor of the territory, a position he held for around 5 years. In fact, he was instrumental in Tennessee achieving statehood in 1796, and then went on to be her very first state senator. Of course, he was also the very first state senator to ever be expelled from the assembly, but that part is neither here nor there. It is one of the reasons he was home to die in the House in 1800, though before he could ever be formally charged or tried for his alleged crimes. Not that they didn't try. It's just that Blount was an affable fellow and well-liked in Knoxville by her citizens. And so when they dispatched a man to apprehend him and bring him back to the capital, he basically said, "No, not gonna fly. There's more of us than there is of you. But hey, I can appreciate you were just trying to do your job. Come on by for some supper and meet the missus," which is pretty much exactly what happened. He had the dude that was sent to capture him by for dinner and sent him on his way back to the capital empty-handed. Only in East Tennessee, I tell you what. And I say that with a big grin on my face. The more I read history like this, the more I feel like I belong here. Anyway, it was too bad for Blount, but the whole kerfuffle in the capital with him pissing in their Cheerios made it so he was home on one of the many occasions that mosquito-borne illnesses were sweeping through the South, and in 1800 he died in the house. But interestingly, he's not the ghost that I've read about haunting the place. The Blount Mansion is 232 years old as I write this, which means one thing and one thing only when you're that old: you've been through some shit. So it is for any historical building, I think. In the case of the mansion, she fell into disrepair, was pulled out of it, fell back into it, and finally somewhere along the way somebody was like, "Hey, we should, actually preserve this damn thing. It's the oldest and very first frame house in Knoxville, if not the entirety of East Tennessee, and that should mean something." To that person, I say, good on ya. Probably not so much for one of the poor bastards tasked with fixing up and maintaining the joint, though. The story goes that it was a blustery day. The wind was kicking up and the clouds were thick and leaden, pregnant with rain and threatening a deluge any minute, when a painter was finishing up one of the second-floor window sashes on the outside. He was contemplating whether to risk doing another one or if he should call it quits for the day when a flicker of movement inside the house caught his attention. He turned, just in time to see the top half of a little boy exit a bedroom, float across the hall, and take himself down the stairs. He wrapped it up right then and there and supposedly called it a week. I would say I couldn't blame him, but I'm the crazy bitch that would have gone in the house looking for the kid and seeing if I could make contact. This is a two different kinds of people moment, isn't it? Yeah, I thought so.